Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. And even though it's the season's over for us, the roundtable must go on. So it's me, Coach Evans, here with the Ravens Roundtable. We're gonna start numbering these editions by the date. So this is 1.23.23. That means January 23rd, 2023. And until we actually get games again and have like a week one, week two, whatever, we're gonna name them like that. So that way when you want to go back and say we were right about some stuff, you can. But if you need to go back and say we were wrong, it's going to be unlisted, so you can't find it. So that's how this is going to work. So I'm bringing the panel in. I'm going to start with Chris. What up?
What's going on, Coach? Glad to be back on. Feeling a little better after that loss last week, but let's get into it. Off season time now.
Most definitely. Well, the season never ends; it just rotates. What up, Mike?
What up, everybody? We told y'all we was gonna be here, and as you see, we here. Let's get it.
Next up, Hendo.
What's going on?
Is it?
Pretty much.
Nice shirt.
Oh, yeah, it's that LBHT, Sudanese and Egyptian like cotton. Yeah, man.
Okay. It looked brand new too. Ain't no wrinkles in that joint.
It is. Listen, when I say it came fresh out the pack today.
That joint ain't got a wrinkle at all.
That is a nice shirt.
Oh,
Yeah, swinning.
What up, fellas?
What's going on?
So this is obviously the format's going to change a little bit, and just going to give you an overview of what we're going to do, and then we'll get right into it. We're going to talk about, and in no certain order, we're going to talk about the Ravens team awards. We'll do team MVP, just like we did the mid-season. Team MVP, offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year. We'll talk about the candidates that they've interviewed so far, and then we'll talk about the 4 playoff games from this weekend and just get each other's take on it and go from there. Everybody cool with that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's dive right into it. I would like to start with the postseason awards and get that out the way. So I'll give the award, and then you guys say who you want to or should be. You kind of, give your reasoning why, and then we'll go from there. All right, let me get situated. Here we go. All right, we'll start at the bottom. Matter of fact, Hendo, I got a DM, and it told me to make sure to make you apologize to Travis Jones, and so I asked him what for. And he was like, because he was an NFL defensive all rookie. So there are people in the Twitterverse looking for your apology to Travis Jones because he made the all rookie team, the NFL all rookie team, not the PFF and not the sports writers, the NFL version of the all rookie team. And just so y'all know, he ain't the only one made it. He made it, Linderbaum made it, and Hamilton made it.
I'm sorry.
Hamilton would.
Oh, wait, no,
Travis Jones.
That means you also owe EDC an apology. Everybody on here, if he had 3 rookies on he's going to ride with this. This is going to be one of his best drafts.
It's going to be on his resume.
It's on his resume.
It's going to be on his
Team
resume.
picks.
Is Tyler Huntley Pro Bowler going to be on this resume too? I mean,
You mean the Tyler Huntley that outperformed Josh Allen? That Tyler Huntley?
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Not a good day for my boy. Not a good day.
But apparently, people, you're not getting any apology.
No, I was going to give an apology. Everybody else jumped in.
No, you paused for a minute. I'm like, oh, he doing it.
Listen, I apologize. Listen, Travis Jones outkicked his coverage. He made the all-rookie team. He moved the needle and took us to the divisional. Oh,
Wild card.
he made the rookie team.
Hey, that's enough for me.
Apology. He's a lot better than I thought he was. Was he worth the 3rd round pick? Definitely not. Who the hell runs in the NFL? Nobody but us.
Good. I ain't want to make it. I'm trying to, be a man of the people.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
I think you know what apologies are, but that's cool. Doesn't seem.
I apologize.
Like if Travis was watching, I don't think he got out of that what that commenter was looking for him to get out of that.
Listen, I apologize. He's better. He's a lot better than I guess I gave him credit for.
Yeah, they But anyway, we'll talk about them at another time, another day. Defensive Rookie of the Year for the Ravens. I'll start with you, Chris.
It's got to be Kyle Hamilton. head and shoulders above any other rookie. He played significantly more snaps than any other rookie on the team. And, he started off a little bumpy, but the way he ended the season, the confidence he was playing with towards the end, I think the arrow is definitely pointing up. So I give it to Kyle.
Mike?
Kyle is. I'm gonna go different. I'm gonna give it to Lindemann. I think
He said defensive.
But you don't-
Defense.
you don't-
Oh, different. Oh, I'm
Defense.
sorry.
Defense.
Don't mind me. I've been working a lot. Yeah. So and then I got to give it to Kyle Hamilton. Then. Kyle Hamilton. I mean, everything Chris said. Started rough, finished strong, and I think I'd say I give him the last 6 weeks or so, last 6 games, plus the playoff game. Man, he looked like a different player. We'll see what we got. I mean, if the rumors are true that Chuck has played his last game with us, we'll see, how he fits into that role full time. But the way they ended up using him, it ended up working out for him. He became a solid blitzer. He was downhill guy, made some tackles there, big play in the playoff game, obviously. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Hamilton.
Kendo?
Defensive rookie of the year for the Ravens, I'm going to go with Travis Jones. He was a 3rd round pick that made the all defensive rookie team. So he wasn't expected to do that. So I guess we're going to have to put him up there. He wasn't a top 15 pick. He was stout against the run. Listen, I joke around and I kid, but listen, he did his thing. He may not have made splash plays, but he held up against the run. Yeah, I'm going to give mine to Travis Jones. Apology.
Jose?
I'm gonna go David Ojabo. Nah.
You know who I really thought Hendo was going to say? Jordan Stout.
If he played defense, I'd have gave it to him.
Yeah, obviously Kyle Hamilton, and he had the highest expectation, right? I mean, you get drafted that high, I'm going to put that expectation on you. Did a good job, right? Did a good job. I mean, you can't really expect more from a rookie at that position, and and to kind of compare him to who we had here before, right? That's just an unrealistic comparison. But I thought he did really well for us, and he's one of our better defensive players. So yeah, I'll give it to him.
B?
Yeah, definitely Kyle Hamilton. We said at the time, good player, bad pick. That's kind of a theme with Baltimore. But I thought that he was a great prospect, and like you all said, over the course of the season, he really came on and played well.
And I picked the same person. I thought that normally the rookies have that year 1 jump to year 2. I thought Kyle Hamilton had that in his rookie year, like maybe game 9 or 10, he started to be a different person, because I guess you couldn't get any lower than what happened in the Miami game. But he started to actually not only just be out there and be a safe guy, be out there, be a guy that could make plays. Starting with that strip fumble that Marcus Peters picked up, that's when his game, to me, started to turn around, and he started to be an asset, not just being out there because he had to be. And I saw one publication listed him as a slot corner with the all-rookie team. But in actuality, we all know he's
that's a lie.
Yeah, we all know he's a safety. They just needed to get him on that. I think it was PFF, but that tells you how stupid PFF is with some of their metrics. So let's go on to offensive rookie of the year. We'll start with you, B.
This is going to be Tyler Linderbaum. He came in from day one at a position that kind of historically has been tough for Baltimore to fill. And, he had his ups and downs as any rookie will, but I think he brought a good deal of stability to the O-line, to that center position that they haven't really had, especially in recent years with the snap fiascos that have been going on in Baltimore. So it's going to be Tyler.
Jose?
Same for me. Tyler Linderbaum, another person that I had high expectations for. No first round center has never made it to their second contract. All right.
Okay.
Facts.
Yeah. So I expected him to come in and start out hot. And I mean, look, he had his down moments. Obviously, like you have your rookie moments, but overall did a really good job. And like B said, like historically we just have a hard time filling that position. But I think we have our guy. That's a position we're not going to have to worry about for years to come. So I'm really happy with that pick. I'm glad we made that pick, and I think he's holding up well so far.
You know,
It's got to be Tyler Beatty. No, of course. I mean, of course, it's Linderbaum. That was the pick that I wanted at 14. Like Jose said, no center has not made it to that second contract that's drafted in the first round. I think most of them have all been Pro Bowlers at one time, if I'm not mistaken. He struggled very rarely, but he was a rookie center going up against some of the biggest names in the NFL. Right. So I think that this is one of the choices that the Ravens knocked the park out of. Or knocked out of the ball.
Yeah, I kind of gave it away in the last segment at the wrong time. But yeah, I think Linderbaum, the way he played against Hayward, I thought that kind of showed like, all right, this guy's tough, he's game. Somebody like that, it's easy for you to get shaken up. And being a young guy and being shook, and for the position he plays, he is slight. He is a little on the smaller side. So, the way he stood up to that, I think DJ Reader, he kind of gave him some work, but I seen some things in that matchup as well where he didn't back down. You looking at a Pro Bowl / possible All Pro type player across from you, and the fact that he didn't back down, man, that said enough for me.
Chris?
Yeah, it's a clean sweep for Linderbaum. I had my reservations. Mike just said, how slight a frame he is, and playing that big boy football in the AFC North. That's going against DJ Reader, Cam Hayward, like you said. That's no easy task, and I felt like everybody else said, he had his ups and downs, but he rose to the occasion, and there's reason to be excited for him going forward.
Thanks. And I got the same person. He's what I thought he was going to be. He excellent in the run game when you're running zone schemes. The only thing he did better than I thought he would be was the gap stuff when he had the down block. But what I will say is the coaching staff, one of the few adjustments they made, they let him pull a lot, because he was more fleet of foot. So when they didn't have a one technique that he had to down block on, it was like, forget it. The guard just do that and you pull. And so they kind of helped him out. They adjusted the game to his style of play to make him play better, to put him in better situations. Whereas they didn't do that for the whole team, but they definitely did that for him. And so the only time people really whooped him, I thought, was when you had a zero technique and it was pass rush. Other than that, that zone stuff, he had some perfect moments as far as hand placement and running his feet. And like y'all said, if we can sign him on that second deal, you got a guy that's going to probably anchor that spot for 10, 11 years and be effective at it. Let's go on to defensive player of the year. Defensive player of the year. Or do you want to do MVP first? And that way we can still kind of have our defensive guy. I want to do team MVP first. Then go to offense, defense.
You want to go just talk about how much we love Lamar? Or?
Right.
Who else could you possibly give it to?
That's an easy one.
Yes.
We'll do that one last then. Defensive player of the year. Because I wasn't thinking Lamar.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I wasn't thinking Lamar.
You're the only one. Okay.
I probably am, but I wasn't thinking Lamar. Defensive player of the year. Chris?
I'm going to go with Marlowe. I thought Marlowe was consistent, the most consistent defensive player for the year. He had a few little ups and downs, but I think for the most part, he was the most consistent guy there, and played at a high level this year. He made the Pro Bowl. You could make a case he could have been a All Pro player, but I thought Marlowe definitely was the full-time season MVP, defensive MVP.
Mike?
Yeah, I like Marlowe, but I know y'all. I know we're gonna get some boos and cast in the
Come on,
chat.
Mike. Do it, Mike.
Do it.
Mike.
Give me my man PQ.
Do it, Mike. Do it, Mike. That's what I'm talking about.
Give me my man PQ.
I didn't think he was going there. I'm sorry.
The way PQ adjusted and silence all the critics. Hey, that second half of this season, PQ played well. He balled out, and I think to show for what we need him to be and where he's headed, right, to try to get that fifth year option picked up. I think he made it a hard decision on the on the Ravens. It is no question they have to pick it up, in my opinion. So PQ balled out. I know y'all ain't gonna like it, but PQ is my defensive player of the year this year.
I like it, Mikey.
I like
You know
it
what I'm
too.
saying?
I like it too. Follow that up, Hendo.
Huh? Oh no! Can you put up Davon Allen's comment,
Hold on.
please?
Hold on. Oh,
Oh wait for me.
that's a good one. That's a good one. He was the best player on the other team most of the year.
That's hilarious.
Except now we'll say except for that last game.
Yes.
The last couple.
That's
games.
ungun. I wish that Owe would have showed up all year.
For real.
True. Okay. So at first I was going to go with Marlowe, but somebody persuaded me to change it to Roquan Smith. Now, to Mike's point, if it wasn't for Roquan, PQ would not have upped his game, because before, listen, I know you say he started to play better.
I disagree. He played better
mm-hmm.
before Roquan got here.
He did, and I give you that. But when you're in school and you go from an F to a D, yeah, you got better. But how much better did you get?
A D?
That's
You
cold.
gave him a D
No,
for
no, that's not what I'm saying.
You went from failing to passing.
That's not the grade I'm giving him, but that's what I'm saying. You can go from bad to better and still not be really good. He has not lived up to a first round potential. Will you agree with that, Mike?
this year, I think.
No, I don't.
But he's played better. Now, as far as team,
I think he did this year.
Yeah, me too.
I think he made himself a lot of money, whether it's with us or somebody else.
You know
With us?
why?
You know it ain't gonna be with
You know why
us.
he did? You know why he did? Hendo stopped talking about PQ after around week 6 or 7. Like he just didn't have anything to say anymore. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Actually,
What?
I gave him some props a couple times, and every time I gave him props, the next game he messed up. So I stopped talking about him. Every time I'm like, "Yo,
Listen,
PQ
man,
out there balling."
the season is over. You don't have to be hater Hendo anymore.
I'm not hating on PQ. I wish that man the best with whatever new team he goes to. I hope he go out and becomes an All-Pro. What?
Hate.
I'll say this, Hendo. His mistakes became a little less glaring.
True.
After a while, like where it was at first, it was sticking out. Like it was like, all right, bro, you look lost out there.
And when did that happen? When who came?
No. I mean, yeah, he had a good stretch before he got there, and even when his mistakes weren't, like I said, they were a little less
They weren't as
glaring,
bad as,
and they weren't as big as they were before. Like he started to catch the ball when they hit him in the hands. You know what I mean? Like he stopped outrunning the play. He would miss a tackle here and there, but he for the most part, man, he turned it on, in my opinion, in the second half of that season.
I ain't taking up from him. He played better, but listen, 1-2 punch Tanja, better get used to. Listen, EDC needs a second round pick, and Chuck ain't fetching you no second round pick. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And she said, they all made mistakes.
Everybody made mistakes.
Yeah.
But Roquan got 100 mil.
When they play, when Roe had his bad game, PQ had his bad game.
Yeah.
The bad game they had since he was on the team, they had it at the same game. I forget which one it was.
Pittsburgh.
Both of them had bad games.
Mm-hmm. And since Patrick Queen was playing better before Roquan showed up, it seems like maybe he's the one who unlocked Roquan. And when he didn't play well, Roquan fell down.
Okay, stepping in the party. Look at him in the face.
Maybe if this version of Roquan showed up in Chicago, they would have paid him.
Hot takes.
This version of Roquan didn't exist.
I don't know, Tanja, you good. We just picking. We just picking.
Say your guy, Hendo. Did you say?
Yes, Roquan Smith.
Roquan. Okay.
Indeed.
Okay. Jose?
Yeah, I'm going Roquan. PQ is not a bad pick though. It's not a bad pick, but I'm going Roquan just because the mindset of the defense just changed when he got there. Like it was immediate. The minute they traded for him and they played New Orleans, they were off to the races, hitting much harder. There was a greater sense of urgency out there, and that carried all the way into the playoffs. I mean, the way we played the Bengals, man, like that's the style of defense we haven't seen here in years, right? That, you know, we needed that person that's just going to be out there and be like, look, follow my lead, right? I'm going to put this hit on somebody. Y'all need to match my energy type of thing. And, you know, I don't like our team dishing out $100 million to a linebacker before our quarterback gets paid, but he is worth the money in my opinion. So like just in a vacuum, you know, I think that's, you know, he's worth it. I'm glad he's on the team. You know, we'll discuss you know, what that means for the rest of the team later. But yeah. He's my guy.
B.
For defensive player of the year, I'm going with Mike. I'm going with Patrick Queen. I'm going to say he played much better this year. I like the Marlon Humphrey pick. I thought he had a great year, but you know, Queen led the team in tackles. He had one fewer pass defense than Marlowe, one fewer interception than Marlowe. He had 14 quarterback hits. I think he played really well all around. And you know, I can't give it to Roquan just because he was only there for half the season.
Yeah.
And that I'm exactly what you be. Roquan did bring that energy like that, but I personally got to go with PQ because not only because I like him, but just he was a different person from the first 2 years, and he meant a lot to what they did defensively. He made a bunch of splash plays too, a bunch of TFLs, picks, running people down, and yeah, he overran some people and did some things. But as far as consistency, played every game, I got to go with PQ. Cool. So we got what? 1, 2, 3 for PQ. You got Chris. Who you went with? You went with Marlo. Jose, who'd you go with?
Roquan
and Hendo went Roquan. Cool. That ain't a bad. That's 3. That's decent players, and hopefully they'll be around for a while. We hope. Fat chance, but we hope.
Come on, coach. You know.
I said fat chance.
You know.
Offensive player of the year.
Oh! Before we move on,
go ahead.
Somebody in the chat put Marcus Williams. I think he would have been my pick if he didn't get hurt. Because the way he was playing,
somebody said if he didn't get hurt, he would have been. Because he started off with what 3-4 picks in the first 2 games or something like that.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
If he didn't get hurt, he was on track to probably have a career year for him.
Yeah. You know how
one of them picks in the game where he gave up like 8 touchdowns too, though.
You know who I would have picked if he could just wrap up just slightly better. Justin Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he was about 2 sacks away from being the guy in my book.
True.
You know who else had a huge impact?
I got Big Red's pick for him too.
But not today.
I was going to say, shoot, what's my man on the edge with the gold shoes? Not Tyus.
Oh, Tyus
had a huge impact when he came back.
When
he came back.
Yeah.
But they had a nice rotation going. Let's go offensive player of the year. We'll start with you, B.
You know, I wasn't going to give it to Lamar because, you know, kind of the same reason with Roquan. He wasn't there the whole season. Mm-hmm. And I started looking around, man, and like I went to Pro Football Reference to try and find somebody. I'm like, yo, JK didn't play the whole season.
Right.
I just it's Lamar, and I mean, and that roster is disgusting to look at. So they got some work to do. It's Lamar by a landslide.
Jose, just to change it up, I'm gonna say J.K. Dobbins. That last injury, man, like it changed him. I mean, they must have went in there and worked on his eyes too, because his vision is completely different, man. Mm-hmm. And no, he didn't play a whole year, which is why, like, you know, we wouldn't really give it to him. It's Lamar, but I just got to get his name out there. I'm gonna go with J.K. Dobbins because the way he ran, he's absolutely right to be angry that he didn't get the ball in that playoff game. We would have won. Give this man the ball. They had no answers for him. Yeah,
and
JK.
So are we going with the narrative of not play the whole year, play the whole year?
It's on you. It's your pick. It's your standards, your parameters, and whatnot.
I mean, it's got to be Lamar. look what he did for this team, and look what we did without him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if not for that, I could see why people are saying Mark Andrews.
Hold on, though. I had to cut you off. Remember, we still got a team MVP too.
What's the difference?
No, there is a difference.
Oh, okay.
I just want the
offense
for the people that didn't win already. I just wanted to let y'all remind you that. That's all.
Oh,
I remember when I said about starting with the MVP, y'all was like, well, "Is it how we had that little?" So we still got another one after offensive player of the year too. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to put that out there.
Be good, Coach.
Mikey.
I'm gonna go with Ronnie Stanley, man. I think Ronnie coming into this season, man, was looking like he might not ever play again, right? We don't know what we're gonna get out of Ronnie Stanley. I mean, it was a rough stretch to get him back on the field. We didn't know when it was going to happen, but I think when he got back on the field, he looked like himself. I see there's a lot of people out there saying it's not many choices, and that's correct. Like, it's not many that finished the whole season, that played the whole season or whatever. But I think Ronnie was a pleasant surprise in showing up that left side, because I was surely concerned. Now, don't get me wrong. In that playoff game, he was getting beat like he stole something a little bit, But it happens to the best of them, right?
Everybody.
But I think him coming back, showing that, okay, we can take a deep breath on the left side and know that the left side is shored up again. I'm gonna give it to him.
Chris.
Ben Powers ain't bad pick.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Lamar too, because just by his absence, you see how important he is.
Jeez.
And you see the effect that it had on the whole team. But I think you could also somebody just said it, Ben Powers. You could go with either one of those guards, because I think they both play well for the season. Good morning, Graven. We don't say that name around here anymore, Graven. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Lamar.
I'm going with Lamar too, just simply because he is box office. He prime time. He is what we need on the team. If we had Lamar right now, we'd still be playing.
Yeah,
we'd still be playing. And I know if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. But if he was healthy, we'd still be playing, especially with what the defense did on that back end of the season. And last award, team MVP. We start with you, Chris.
Team MVP. I'm probably it's gonna be the same answer, Lamar. He's the man. He's the one that makes this engine run. And we saw what happened when he was gone, like just how it stalls out. It's not the same. And everybody's main concern for the offseason is Lamar. Will Lamar be the Ravens quarterback? And for valid reason, because we see how it looks when he's not there, when the man is not, piloting the offense. So yeah, it's Lamar for me.
Mikey?
Man, you know what? I gotta get a team MVP to Mark Andrews. And I'm gonna give it to Mark Andrews because listen, that brother, for what he went through this year, of losing his quarterback and then having to deal with, a second string and then a practice squad quarterback, he held it together fairly well, with all things considered. So I'm gonna give him the MVP because, look, he stayed upbeat. I mean, it would be easy for somebody like that to lose their mind, having to answer questions about that and try to stay positive. And I think he did well with that. His numbers were solid. With like I said, all things considered, he missed what? Would he miss 2 games this year?
Well, one they held him out just because it was meaningless.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Andrews.
Hendo.
It's got to be Lamar Jackson. We see what he means to the team, and we can't overstate that. Even with the 5.5 games that he missed, he still was our leading passer. He still was our leading rusher, as usual. And he just gave us a preview of what's to come next year. So it's got to be Lamar.
Jose?
Yeah, Lamar. I mean, this is going to be a clean. Well, I don't think it's going to be a clean sweep because coach has somebody else in mind. But yeah, Lamar. And yes, he's easily could have been the offensive MVP as well. I mean, we average what 26 points or 25 points per game before he goes out, and then after he goes out, it's down to like 13 points per game.
But didn't it seem like 4 points a game?
Yes, yeah. I mean that's all Justin Tucker, if we're being real. But I mean, look, I know we played well in that playoff game, and good performance. But if we're being honest, I mean, this is just a bad team without Lamar. If you had to play this whole season in a 17 week stretch, how would this team look? Not particularly good. So I mean, he's everything to this team. It doesn't matter what you put on that defense. That's why we say hashtag defund the defense on our channel so much, because that defense is never going to carry the team the way Lamar does.
All right. Jose, I'm sorry, B.
Yeah, no, it's definitely Lamar. To Jose's point, without Lamar, this is just it's a scrappy bunch, right? they go out there and they play hard and they play physical, and nobody wants to play them, but everybody beats them. Right, like that's the kind of team Baltimore is without Lamar Jackson. You put Lamar Jackson on the team, and everybody in Baltimore is thinking Super Bowl. So I mean, that's about as clear as it can be that he's the MVP of the team. And I'm shocked to hear Mike going with Mark, simply because I had him in mind as like my most disappointing player for the offense, but having played the whole season and not clearly being the offensive MVP, but. That's all right, I guess. He had an all right year.
Yeah, mine was Marlowe. My team MVP was Marlowe. Crappy last year to me. This year he bounced back, and he did his thing and played. He played every game, if I'm not mistaken. And just for what he did, and a lot of people stopped throwing at him, and it could be partially it's because of who was on the other side, but they stopped throwing at Marlowe. No matter even with that Bengals game, or whoever was on that side, they just threw to the other. Again, partially it was because who was over there, but that to me that's respect for Marlowe. And there are metrics out there that say he didn't give up a touchdown. There's how they go. If he around, or if he could have made a play or something, because I could have sworn the Dolphins game he was right there and could have knocked the ball down for a touchdown. So, but there are metrics out there that say he didn't give up one. But for his consistency throughout the whole year, played every game and held it down, I'm going with Marlowe for my team MVP. That's why I had Lamar as the offensive MVP. All right, we're good on that. Hey, put in the comment section, and if you're watching later, put in the comment section your postseason awards, and the people that's here now with us live, they're doing that anyway. So that's why we know we got a good chat. We don't have to prompt them to do stuff. They just start doing it and have a conversation. So I appreciate you, chat, for joining in the convo. And honestly, if we keeping it $1,000, that's why I left this up there. 100%, 1,000%. It's probably Tucker for MVP, probably. But it just, he didn't get as many chances as he should have because of the head coach. But I think if we keep it in a book, Tucker was the most consistent for the most part. For the past 10 years, so he could be in the conversation. Even if he ain't that guy, he could be in the conversation for MVP also. All right, move on to the Ravens off-season offensive coordinator search. So I have 2 names that I know we've interviewed. There's word that we've interviewed 5, but I couldn't find the other 2 names. And with all these people buying check marks, I really didn't want to put names up there that come from unreliable sources. So I have 2 names, and I'm sure you guys got names too. Obviously, one of the names I got is the guy that's behind Hendo. That's the Broncos OC, Justin Alton. That guy. What do you feel about? Since you got him up there, Hendo, I'll let you start with him.
Yeah. I feel like he's going to be the next hire as offensive coordinator. Listen. They rushed 205 yards in that last game. John Harbaugh loves it. Now
with the Ravens running back.
Sickening. But in all seriousness, I believe he's going to be highly considered. I know that the Ravens are kind of throwing out the smoke screens of, we're bringing in this pass game guy, and it's fine and dandy, but you can't change who you are. You can't change what you like. And for some reason, being that he is a run first guy, John Harbaugh likes that. But to me, I don't like it because his offense in today's NFL averaged 16.9 points a game. They were 32nd in offense in the NFL. So
Right.
I'll pass on that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's facts.
You want me to comment on that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Okay. B?
No.
All right, Chris.
Yeah, it's a no for me, but he was only the OC for 2 games.
Yeah.
So he wasn't the OC for the whole year. So I give him a little leeway for that, but still no.
No.
Mike.
Yeah, nah. I'm on the same train I was last week. I need somebody that I can trust in here. It's something different, right? If you go come in here and be a John puppet, I don't want you. I don't want you here. So
Gotcha.
nah.
And it's definitely a no for me. Definitely. They like Hendo said. Who was that say about the ranking? Was that you, Hendo?
Yeah, they're 32nd.
Yeah. So
No
he
matter
had to
who
at least
coaches.
be on the staff.
Listen,
He was a part of it.
KJ
So-
Hamler, Courtney Sutton, Jerry Judy, Albert O, Dolchik. They had
Yep.
all those people and averaged 16 points a game.
That sounds like what we went through last year. So I don't want none of that. Ain't gonna bang my head up against a concrete brick. Next guy. The Browns pass game coordinator, Chad O'Shea. B?
It's gonna be another no. Thank you. I think what they're trying to follow through on their word and say, hey, we're gonna cast a wide net. We're gonna talk to everybody. I saw a report that they are really focused in on the 3 guys that we mentioned last week in Reich, Leftwich, and Bieniemy, which I still think is the way to go with an experienced offensive coordinator. This guy from Cleveland, I don't know how long he's been in Cleveland, but I don't remember their pass game ever looking like something I would want to replicate on my team. So it's going to be a no.
Gotcha. Chris?
I'm going to keep it short and sweet, no.
Mike?
Nah.
Hendo?
I don't want anything from Cleveland.
Jose?
Nope.
Okay. Moving on. All right. So those were the 2 names that I could actually find from reliable sources. There are people that threw some big time names out there, but I don't know if we've interviewed them. Who do you guys know that we've interviewed?
Wait, did they?
They requested interviews.
They requested interviews with Zach Robinson, right? Was that?
And Dave Canales out of Seattle.
Okay.
And I had another name here.
Let's talk with Zach Robinson. Who is Zach Robinson?
Zach Robinson. I gotta.
He's a QB coach for the Rams, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's the hot name that I've been hearing. I just couldn't
he
remember
was
where he's from.
He was Dez's QB back in the day in college.
At Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, with him being part of that Rams tree, I'd definitely be somebody that you could take a look at. Because their scheme, I don't know how much of it he would run, but I'm a fan of it, especially with a lot of the outside zone stuff and with us having Linderbaum and guys at the 2 tackles that can move. I'd be a fan of it. At least somebody definitely ain't no straight no like them first 2 guys.
Yeah.
No, I think he's an intriguing coach. I would still put him towards the bottom of the list. But he became their pass game coordinator as well this year. He's been a wide receivers coach in the past. I remember mostly Chris was saying from Oklahoma State, if you remember their coach Gundy going on that rant about their quarterback being fat. No, he was the guy who came in when they benched the fat quarterback.
Oh, okay.
So,
He's the after I'm a man. I'm 40
Right.
quarterback.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to comment on Taylor?
He good.
Nope.
At the end,
Bottom of that
he's
barrel
good.
too?
He's good at the end of the bench, at the end of the ball.
And the ball. Yeah.
Gotcha. What was the other name you spoke of, B?
Dave Canales is the quarterback coach in Seattle. So he worked with Geno. Don't know a whole wow.
Wow.
I don't know why you hate Geno Smith so much. What did Geno Smith?
What
do to
Geno
you?
do to you, Hendo?
What did he do to you?
I don't hate.
Did he
Geno
not give
Smith.
you a jersey too?
Nah.
Smith.
I don't hate Geno Smith. I just
You hate Geno Smith more than I've ever seen. He's been with Seattle since 2010. He was the wide receivers coach for 7 years, then quarterbacks coach, and then pass game coordinator, and now he's quarterback coach again. And you know, you look at Seattle, they've always gotten a lot of production out of their wide receivers. You know, even when they were undrafted guys. Apparently they made Russell Wilson. I don't know. And now they resurrected. You know, they resurrected Mike Williams' career way back when. They resurrected Geno's career. So I mean, this guy may have something, but again, you know, if it's me, he's at best in fourth after those three guys that we mentioned before.
Gotcha. And who would be the fifth guy that they supposedly have actually interviewed? Like there are three names I'm gonna throw out there.
James Urban.
Oh, Lord.
I think they actually.
There's a lot of names that's thrown out there, right? Like Eric Bieniemy, Byron Leftwich. Those are two names that stuck out to me.
Mm-hmm. It was Bieniemy, Leftwich, and
Frank Wright.
Frank Wright. Them the
yeah.
three names I really want to talk about. So we can forget the other guys. Let's talk about them three. Bieniemy, what you think?
Well, hold on. It is that guy, was it Slovic from San Fernando 49ers? He has seen to have a lot of people behind him. Didn't they mention one of the Phillies guys?
I did, Brian Johnson.
Yeah, I was wondering if they requested.
I did. I don't know if they've officially done anything, but I mentioned Brian Johnson last week.
Yeah.
And a lot of fans have talked about Johnson also.
Yeah.
And Slowick.
Yeah. So those are two names that, you know, could be something, but
yeah, but after what happened this weekend, Panthers fans have decided it's going to be Shane Steichen, the head coach, and Brian Johnson, the offensive coordinator in Carolina. So y'all can move on from that, I guess. I guess.
No, sir.
Appreciate you, Brandon, for dropping the dub. He says keep dropping that content on both channels. And the other channel that he's speaking of is called More Sip to Talent, where I just dropped a film about Bryce Young. Dropped it today. Appreciate you. B. So out of those three guys, let's say four. Let's go five. We go Frank Wright.
Okay.
Bieniemy.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the other guy in that three?
Right.
Leftwich, Slowick, and Johnson. Who you got, B, out of them five? Well, and just take the Panthers out of it. Who, like,
wow.
Okay. Just for this, take the Panthers out of it.
Let's get to the real news.
Who would you pick out of that group?
So, honestly, I think it might be Frank Reich.
Mm-hmm.
And that's simply because, you know, those top three guys, Leftwich, Reich, and Bieniemy, are all, you know, they're all kind of 1A, 1B, 1C for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I would take Reich if I'm Baltimore, simply because the other two guys are going to be, you know, Leftwich in particular is going to be gone with a head coaching job, you know, if he gets a hold of Lamar. Right. Bieniemy's still obviously looking for a head coaching job. And I don't really think that at his age and having already had a stint as a head coach, that Frank Reich is going to be going anywhere anytime soon. So I'd want the guy who's going to bring, you know, not only the experience,
stick with you.
Yeah, be able to, you know, to improve the pass game, but he's going to bring long-term stability, I would think. So that would be my pick.
Jose?
Yeah, B's kind of taught me over to that side of it. But I'm gonna say Eric Bieniemy. I'm a huge Leftwich fan, right? Mm-hmm. If I knew any of these coaches was gonna stick, I would go with Leftwich. I think Leftwich is a 1 year offensive coordinator, and his name will be out there again for head coach. Mm-hmm. Now, if we want to get rid of Harbaugh and put him in that position, I'm good with that. But all things considered, I don't think Eric Bieniemy, unfortunately, is going to get a chance at head coach unless they. I mean, this is highly possible that they win a Super Bowl again this year. And either they step down or they just tell Eric Bieniemy, look, here's some more money. You'll be the coach in waiting. Mm-hmm. That those things are very possible. And then, you know, we won't be talking about Eric Bieniemy. But if they don't bring him back, I think he can come here and he'll just be our coordinator for a while.
Kendo?
Ooh, man. Yeah, you know, B gave me something to think about. I would like to have a coach in here that is going to be for the long haul. Mm-hmm. I would like Frank Wright, because what he did with Carson Wentz. But I just think John Harbaugh would feel a little bit too threatened by him. So that's not happening. Eric Bieniemy is a good choice. The guy Johnson up in Philly, what he did with Jalen Hurts really intrigues me because he and Lamar have the same kind of skill sets, even though Lamar is a lot better than him. I think maybe depending on how much input he had in Hurts' success. I know bringing in A.J. Brown kind of did a lot for him, but I would probably have to go with Bieniemy. I just think that being under that Andy Reid tree, his offensive playbook is going to be a little bit more exotic. And he's going to have a lot more schemes and concepts because if you watch Kansas City, they'll do 4 plays just to set up one play later on in the game.
Right.
We don't do setup plays. We just go out there and run what we run. And I think just for us to actually have conceptually mastered the offensive side of the ball, I would probably have to go with our enemy.
Chris?
I'll probably lean more towards Frank Reich. I think there's more balance with him, like as far as being able to run the ball and also pass the ball. I think with Eric Bieniemy, the Chiefs they've never really been during the Reid era. They've never really been a team that can run the ball effectively. They got great passing concepts and all of that stuff, but I would like the Ravens to be more balanced. Obviously, then you got Byron Leftwich too, and it's kind of the same issue in Tampa. They've never really been able to establish the run like that. Like they'll be able to have games here and there where they sporadically, get those big games from Lenny or whoever they have there. But I want a guy who has a track record of being able to have a balanced attack, and I think that's what I would like to see in this system, and also somebody with play calling experience. I mean, those guys that you mentioned earlier, none of those guys have play calling experience from the earlier guys. Now, I'm not talking about Bieniemy or Byron Leftwich. I want somebody who has experience calling plays, whether it be at the NFL level or at least college level. Be the offensive coordinator somewhere at a high level. And those other guys, that's passing game coordinator, that's cute, but I want to see somebody with play calling, a track record of play calling.
The thing is with that, Chris, a lot of guys that call plays are waiting on head coaching jobs. That's why you got to get a lot of the passing game coordinators or the receiver coaches or stuff like that. A quarterback.
That's why I like Brian Johnson from the Eagles, because he was a coordinator at multiple places. So that's why I like him, because there's at least a track record there of him being able to call plays and being able to go through a whole season of being in different situations. These other guys that have just strictly been assistants, that kind of gives me some pause there.
Go ahead. I had a question. Airbnb, was he the offensive coordinator when Kareem Hunt was there?
Not sure.
No,
that was a minute ago. I'm not sure.
Wasn't that Nagy?
Is that Nagy?
I believe so.
Okay.
Me personally, and B, you did give me something to think about with the right as far as trying to have somebody here for the long haul. But before you said that, the guy I was thinking was Slowick. And Slowick to me, because again, we love to run the ball. And so we want to get more balance. We do want to pass the ball better, but we still want to have that run game mentality and just have something to build on it, some play action passes or some other stuff to go with it. And what the 49ers do in their run game, that's just beautiful, man.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's I was watching Trent Williams versus Michael Parsons, which is what I'm working on. But also while I'm watching them two, I'm watching the whole game from the all 22 perspective. And man, what the 49ers do in their run game, man. And other than Trent, I think our whole line is better. Other than Trent.
You think the ops is better than McGlinchey?
Yes, McGlinchey.
I'm saying
but what is
as a whole?
McGlinchey is trash.
Did you see what Michael was doing? That man one on.
Yeah,
I know Michael's a transformer, but I'm just saying.
That's embarrassing.
So I think as a whole, our O-line is better than them, with the exception of Trent. Trent's awesome at 34 years old. I don't know how that man doing it.
He's a monster. So did we just do the work for the Ravens brass? We got it narrowed down to Frank Reich and Slowick.
Probably
And-
Brian Johnson.
By the way,
Brian
Eric
Johnson,
Bieniemy was the coordinator in Kansas City for the second year with Kareem Hunt.
Okay.
And then Kareem left. Well, I don't
Kareem
know
got in
why-
trouble.
Yeah, he got
No left. He got in
Yeah.
trouble.
Well, no, he left because he lied. Not because,
yeah. The Blackula said the OC from Georgia, and I Monken is okay, but people scream and complain about us running multiple tight end sets.
Mhm.
They cannot have watched Georgia's games, and still want him to come to Baltimore. Because 19-0 for Georgia don't come off the field, and both of them tight ends, or 18-0, and both of them tight ends.
Mhm.
And they had 3 at the beginning of the season too.
They sure did. So, people keep throwing Monkey name out there, and I ain't saying he's not a bad guy. I'm not Blackula. I'm not saying that's a bad choice. I just wanted to throw out there that he runs a lot of multiple tight end sets, and a lot of us complained about tight end sets and whatnot. So, just saying. Let's get into these games from last week, from this weekend route.
2.
I do want to give y'all a brief history on Brian Johnson too. Brian Johnson played at Utah. Most people know. Utah at that time, Urban Meyer was the head coach and Dan Mullen was the OC. And then that's how Brian Johnson got attached to Dan Mullen. So when Dan Mullen started getting jobs, Brian Johnson started being his quarterback coach. And that's how he started working his way through the ranks. And I didn't even know he had made it to the NFL. Last I knew he was at Florida with Mullen. I didn't even know he had made it to the NFL and was working with those guys. So looks like, he's done a good job of hitting his opportunities and working his way up. And now he's being, mentioned for what Harbaugh called the best job in the NFL that came open, according to Harbaugh.
Now they don't keep Lamar.
Right. And that's the reason he's saying that. Let's see. Let me get to these games. The first game, off the top of my head, let's talk about Buffalo and Cincinnati. Thoughts on that, Chris?
What could have been? What could have been? Yeah, man, it was ugly.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those ugly games, and it was hard watching that as a Ravens fan, and you're like, damn, that's how Buffalo was going to play. I mean, obviously it's not, never going to be the same thing, but the way they just looked, the defense looked horrendous. Offense was just off all game. It was not pretty to see, and for us to, or not us, for the Ravens to go, toe to toe with the Bengals and essentially be 3 yards from taking the lead in the fourth quarter that was a tough one to watch. So that really sucked, man. But hey, I'm glad Buffalo's going through it right now.
Right.
I'm glad they're going through it.
I'm gonna just throw this number out there about the game. 4 for 35.
4 for 35.
Was that third downs?
Mm-mm. That number one receiver they got. That was in stats.
Oh, 4 catches for 35 yards. Yes.
That's why he started out the locker room.
That's why he's like, bruh.
Yeah, that's why he was yelling at Josh Allen. Apparently they got a running back at quarterback over there.
How about that?
They say that man went to his car with his equipment on to leave.
And somebody went and brought him back.
Johnson.
Then he left.
Johnson.
Then he left. He left again.
Mike, what you think about that game?
So hear me out. I want y'all to go back a couple years, okay? Right? Put your thinking caps on, everybody. Hear me out.
Set the mood.
So remember the Marvin Lewis Bengals?
Yep.
When they would win 13, 14 games a year, get to the playoffs, first round exit. And, I would always say, I got a running joke with a friend of mine. He's a Washington Nationals fan. And I've been to the Nationals, won the World Series. I would say, same thing with the Nationals, right? They would win 100 million games and get to the playoffs and they would lose. And I would say, the Nationals ain't nothing but the Bengals of MLB. I would also say the same about our beloved Capitals, right? We Capitals would be first place all year, get to the playoffs, first round exit.
Yeah.
We ain't nothing but the Bengals of the the NHL. Buffalo is becoming the old Marvin Lewis Bengals. They run the table all year long. They're the favorite all year long. They're supposed to make some noise all year long and then get to the playoffs. And whether they make it, last year they got damn close, right? That was one of the best games we ever seen. But they never get over the hump. And they retool every year to make that run, to get over the hump. And they haven't been able to do it. So this was the first offseason, right, in Buffalo, where even the fan base, and I got a lot of love for that fan base. They show a lot of love for, that team who's solid, good team, right? They in the mix of a deep run every year. And that fan base is pretty cool. They all right. But this is the first year I've seen after them having an exit like this that the fan base is actually going off. Like they going at some people. They're going at the coach's head. They calling for McDermott's head. Some people questioning the old line now. Some people questioning Josh Allen, and that's pretty new for them. So ultimately, man, I don't know what they missing because they seem to have everything. I don't know what's going on there. But they just seem like they can't get over the hump. Now, shout out to the Bengals, man. The Bengals went in there and punched them in the mouth, right? Mm-hmm. Straight up. When they drove down the field that first drive and they scored, I was like, "Ooh, you know what? These cats is here to play, right? This going to be one of those games, and they ain't scared, and they ain't here. They don't care that it's snow on the ground and none of that. They here to play. So." Shout out to the Bengals. As hard as it is to say that, they punched them dudes in the mouth, and they got Buffalo rethinking a lot of things right now. What that is, I don't know. But that fan base and that organization they're perplexed right now on because this was supposed to be their year.
NFL should fine the Bengals for wearing that white in that snow.
They thought they had an advantage.
Yeah, for me, this game was a love-hate type situation. I believe myself and Jose were the only ones to pick the Bengals to win, if I'm not mistaken. Listen, the Bengals did what the Ravens should have done last year, so to speak. They are down to their third, fourth, and fifth offensive linemen. And they look pretty good because their offensive coordinator schemed properly to give them time to make their plays. Look, they ran for 170-something yards against that defense.
Like somebody said during the game, I didn't see most of it because I was at a party. But when you got backup offensive linemen in there, the best thing they can do is run the ball. Mm-hmm. They, normally if you're a backup, your pass protection is probably what's hindering you. If you made it to the NFL, 9 times out of 10, for the most part, you can run block, right. And that's what he, like you said, he adjusted and did, and they got 2 good running backs.
They do, and I think that Buffalo's defense is getting a little too much of the blame because the offense put them in a situation where they stayed on the field constantly. The reason that I hated this game is because Josh Allen's not getting the just desserts that he receives for playing this way. Because had that been Lamar, it'd have been like, oh man, you put up 10 points, you did this, you missed wide open receivers. But they're saying, oh, Josh Allen doesn't have enough weapons. Josh Allen's offensive line is bad. Like they're making every excuse under the sun for him. Yep. But listen, they were picked to be the Super Bowl winners. Josh Allen was picked to be the league MVP.
Sure was.
And they shat the bed again. And I mean, Mike said
the Buffalo.
They did. And Mike said it about Cincinnati. Buffalo is another franchise that kind of makes it to the precipice, to the top, and they just don't get over that hump. So it was a good game. But one thing about all 4 of the teams that made it to the conference finals, all 4 of those coaches are offensive head coaches. I'm going to just say that. Horrible.
Jose?
Yeah, look, it's tough, man. Look, I like Josh Allen. I like that Bills team. But I'm not mad that the Bengals won, man. It keeps the pressure on this organization to see a division rival make it that far. And honestly, at this point, I mean, all the teams that are left, I mean, you just look at who they have at quarterbacks, right? I mean, you're not going to get far without a quarterback. Josh Allen had a bad game. You know what I'm saying? Like that happens. Sometimes you put together a great team and they just don't show up when you need them to show up. But long term, man, the Buffalo set up to make multiple runs. Like I know Buffalo fans are upset this year. They felt like this was their year. They were close last year, but you'll be right there again next year. That's what happens when you put together a well-run team, and you give yourself multiple chances to make runs. I mean, look at Kansas City, right? 5th straight year in the AFC Championship game. That's what happens when you put together. That's setting yourself up for multiple runs. And yeah, they've had some success. They've choked a couple times, but they're always there every year. That's what I want this Ravens team to be like.
And a balanced team.
Yeah.
No real stars on defense except for Chris Jones, and they got some
Frank Clark.
nice pieces around him. Frank Clark not a star. He's a good player, but he's no star.
He's better than most.
Okay,
I'll take him.
I'm just saying they pretty balanced with the exception of because they've got a team full of number 2 receivers. True. But they got Mahomes.
And Kelsey
Jones is a beast.
But Kelsey is different.
Different.
Right now, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. Last year, I was proclaiming Mark to be the best statistically tight end in the league, and that was a little BS on my part because I was trolling. But statistically, he had the best numbers.
Statistically,
Kelsey and Kittle,
they different, and they show up in the biggest games.
What? Them 2 cats, man. Who next?
Jose,
my bad.
No, I went.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Buffalo's issue is that they try to have Josh Allen do everything, and they don't need him to. They had Devin Singletary had 11 touches for 62 yards in the game, but it was only 11 touches and only, I believe it was like 5 runs. And Josh Allen led the team in carries, led the team in yards rushing. And you don't need to play that way. Like you have Stephon Diggs, you have Dawson Knox, you have Singletary, you have James Cook. I mean, even not Naheem Hines, you can get him out there and get him a few catches. But they just don't do it. Yeah, Gabriel Davis, they just didn't do it for whatever reason. I think they fell in love with the idea of Josh Allen being the MVP and being the man, and he could do everything. And they just kind of they read their own press clippings a little bit, and they just wanted that to be, they wanted to manifest that, right? And everybody kind of had this thought about it was going to be Mahomes and Allen, like it was Manning and Brady, and it looks like he's more of the Flacco on the outside that maybe you break through every once in a while, but you're not going to be the guy who's there every single year. Mm-hmm. So they need to rethink some things this offseason and try to retool and get themselves back on track.
And let James Cook start.
Definitely. All I'm gonna say about that game is all those things that they wanted for Josh Allen that you guys said earlier in the playoffs, he was outplayed by Tyler Huntley.
No, he wasn't. He didn't stick the ball straight up in the air.
Statistically, a turnover is a turnover, no matter where you get it from.
And Huntley turned it over twice, and his turn directly into 7, and it was the 7 that lost out the game.
So, at least
where's Josh Allen at now? That Homer Simpson meme, patting the couch. Him and Bart, come over here, Josh Allen.
Sit down.
Come on, sit with us.
I just can't abide more Baltimore just delusion with Tyler Huntley. Can't do it.
Hey.
Can't do it.
He had the sun shines on the dog's ass sometimes. That's the sun shining on Huntley. He had a better playoff run than Josh Allen. Next up, Cowboys 49.
Josh Allen won a game in the
right.
I'm talking about this
no,
against
coach,
the Bengals.
no,
I'm talking about against the Bengals.
Oh yeah. You were
against
about to say this
Bengals.
week, and then you realize Tyler ain't played this week.
Yeah, I was gonna say this week.
Hey, coach, I'm gonna tell you what Joy Taylor said. They still lost the game. Why are we talking about all this extra what coulda, shoulda, and how we look versus how they look? We still lost the game.
Because it wouldn't be great TV / YouTube if it didn't have what ifs. If you think about it, all the 4-letter networks do is what ifs.
That is
analytics. True. What ifs.
Yeah, that is true.
It is what it is.
What if we had an offensive minded head coach?
We wish a quarterback would. That's what we had. We would wish Creed.
I wish for a new
We
head
wish
coach.
we had an offensive minded quarterback. We wish we had a different head coach.
Yes, Lord.
We wish our quarterback wouldn't get hurt because we had a tight end block and a premier edge guy.
I wish my general manager could draft.
That too. That's a good wish.
Hey,
rookie team.
Hey, he got 3 on that team.
3 out of 11.
Relax on
He had 11
EDC.
shots at it though.
So they're gonna come around in 3 more years when Lamar gone, and then we were like, yeah, if we could have just had this 3 years ago.
Let's go to the next game. Cowboys 49ers.
Jesus.
I actually walked in the door as this game was kicking off and started out good. Dak went to Dak. I felt so bad for my sister. Her husband's a 49er fan. And so that household was,
Did y'all expect something different?
I actually thought they had a change because of their defense.
They should have won, except Dak played like Dak. I'm done. I'm done with the defending Dak and telling people he's better than they think he is. He played like absolute garbage. I told him, I said on Discord, I'm convinced he was playing blind. Like he was just throwing the ball directly to San Francisco. On the last drive, when they were on their own 6 or whatever it was, they called that rollout, and my man rolled out in his own end zone, tried to turn the corner and ran straight into a 49ers defender. Like he was just he didn't even know he was there. I don't know what the hell.
You didn't see this big red jersey coming at your face.
I don't know what his problem is, but that is 100% on
He
him.
didn't even need to do much. That's a crazy thing.
He didn't.
No.
Just don't give them the game. Mm-hmm. He's like, I can't help you.
it changed when Pollard broke his leg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That sucks for him.
But you still can't. You can't take Pollard being out the game for those throws that he made. Listen, he had 2 interceptions, but he should have had 4.
But I'm saying they could run the ball. Pollard, Zeke ain't giving him nothing.
True, but some of the throws that he threw, like he had it was one play he had CeeDee Lamb wide open in a flat, just like, yo, just give me the ball. And he's decided to go across the middle and got intercept. Like Dak, listen, his name is no longer Dak, it's Dakota Rain.
Yeah.
This is how we will address him from now on. Dakota Rain.
You sound like a porn star.
I will say this. Don't you step a foot in Mississippi because they love themselves some Dakota Rain.
I mean, ain't nothing wrong with that, but he's not as good as everybody makes him out to be.
He's like that.
He's still pretty good. He had a bad game.
He's solid.
He had a bad game at the end of a bad year.
Really? So out of his last, he had 2 turnovers at least in 8 of his last 9 games or something like that. Like, okay.
But one of those games was great.
Yep.
Oh, against the Bucs defense, right? A team with a losing record. Got you.
Mikey, Chris, anybody want to elaborate on the 49ers Cowboys?
You know what? I'm not as hard on Dak. I think
you're not as hard on anybody, Mike.
I think Dak. Look, he didn't play. Dak didn't play great, right? One of those interceptions. Look, the ball was tipped, and
no. Well,
that joint went in.
It
Fred
was
Warner,
like he threw it 49er,
and he threw it to. He threw it to the 49 and he tipped it.
Well, I mean, look, that catch and the way the ball popped in Fred Warner's hand, I'm like, all right, like, look, I can't. Look,
that's only because the first guy dropped it, Mike.
Let's not.
I mean, you guys don't argue over details. I mean,
you're right. So what about that last drive? But he threw it straight to Fred Warner, but he dropped it.
Well, I mean, sorry for Fred Warner. I mean, he catch the ball. You know what I'm saying?
What about that first pick where he saw his man blanking?
Now that first one,
like, let me throw a rainbow over in that direction.
That first one was like, all right, bro, what are you doing? But look, let's not forget that 49ers defense is a top, if not the best defense.
I think it's the best.
So
I think it's the best.
He was going up against a tough task, right?
And he didn't make them work a goddamn minute for it.
Well, I'm just saying, like they would have made I feel like they would have made just about anybody maybe not look that bad, but they,
How about
you're
Jared,
not going.
how about Jared Stidham in Las Vegas?
Cut him up.
That backup quarterback that scored 34
Cut him
points
up.
on him.
But they-
And then the
They
next
put
week, and then
500
the next
yards
week,
on him.
then the next week they gave up 40. Like,
And
nah,
Bosa
yeah.
already he said he's like, well, we slept on Jared Stidham a little bit.
Yeah, they look.
Had they took it seriously, that
I don't
wouldn't
care if
happen.
you slept through the entire game. He can't put 500 yards on you.
See, now y'all think about Jared Stidham. Sad.
All
Still
I'm saying is
MVP.
this. he had a tall task ahead of him, right? And look, when you got Bosa and them boys running down on you like that, yeah, you're gonna be a little skittish in there. You're gonna throw the rock, you're gonna get it out. You know what I'm saying? Not to make no excuse for him, but I'm not taking anything away from that defense that they were playing against. I think the Cowboys played them, all things considered, it was a good game. It was a close game. They were in the game the entire game. Right?
Mike, like somebody just put it in the chat box, but it seemed like a Ravens game. The defense was
Yeah.
holding them. The offense
Yeah.
wasn't helping them.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, Dallas defense isn't a slouch either.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
The Dallas defense was holding San Francisco, but
Right.
Dallas offense wasn't doing nothing. And then
And,
they just
and,
broke.
and he got
And your third-
outplayed
and your
by
third
the seventh round rookie.
Yeah,
Yep.
the third string.
Yeah.
Right.
Now I had an argument with a guy on my other channel because I said I put out a video about Brock Purdy, and I said that Shanahan making it easy for him.
Mhm.
And so a dude came in and he was asking a comment. I said, I think Trey Lance is more talented than Brock Purdy. And I think Jimmy G is more talented than both of them. Now, they both have bigger upsides than Jimmy G, but I think Trey Lance is more talented than Brock Purdy. But how you only saying that? He the man that won 6 games in a row. I was like, but think about this, dude. And I kind of cut it off because he just wanted to debate. Because he say, when you guys run out of ammo, something like that. Like, so you say you guys, that means you did this shit before. So I'm through with this conversation.
Mhm.
But Trey Lance obviously got hurt early, but Kittle was hurt, and they didn't have McCaffrey. Those two dudes change an offense by themselves,
Yep.
not to
Right.
mention having Debo and the other stuff you got.
Right.
So it was apples and oranges because Purdy got the entire complement of the team. Trey Lance didn't. And then Jimmy G was already starting to thrive when they picked up McCaffrey. When Kittle came back, Jimmy G was starting to thrive until he got hurt. So Purdy just got in. You know,
This is just a
he's
Gardner
riding the
Minshew.
wave.
This is a Gardner Minshew argument. Gardner Minshew was a hot thing a few years ago. You know, like we always do this. There's always one guy that goes on a win streak for the team that's stacked, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's the man." This is Tim Tebow. You know what I'm saying? All these guys until they get a full season with somebody and they play like what we knew they were. Brock Purdy, I don't think is anything special. He's doing a great job. It's a great run. But next year it's going to be Trey Lance. They traded up to the number 3 pick to draft Trey Lance. They're not going to give up on him after he got hurt, in his rookie season. Nah, man, like it's a good run for Brock Purdy. Go ahead and flip that for a first or a second round pick and let the other team deal with those consequences.
You know who Brock Purdy is? Brock Purdy is the quarterback from Friday Night Lights. You only need to exist in the time it takes to get the ball to McCaffrey, Debo, George Kittle.
Trading for Christian McCaffrey is what turned them from a non-playoff team to a Super Bowl contender. Right. And like you say, they make it very easy for him. He has to complete passes to wide open receivers.
They ran Ayuk ran a curl route last night. It was nobody within 5 yards of him.
Right. And it's not even downfield. He had 19 completions and 14 of them were under 10 yards. Like it's get the ball to our playmakers as quickly as possible and let them make the plays.
The 72-yard touchdown or 76-yard touchdown last week was a 3-yard throw.
Yep.
So
shoot, the pass to Kittle last night.
Right.
Yeah.
Kittle had to make a great play to get that ball. It's not like he threw a on track pass.
Agent E. Every time you argue with me, Agent E, you're wrong. I just want to point that out.
they put him out there with a bunch of great playmakers, playing on the other side of a great defense, and they say don't F it up. And to his credit, he hasn't so far.
Good for him.
But he's not Pat Mahomes or Lamar or anything out there.
Right.
Like he's not the one running that show.
He's no Tyler Huntley. He doesn't have command of that offense.
Now I will say Randall's a 49er fan. He made some throws, but for the most part, they were, open stuff. He did make some throws. He ain't trash. but he ain't
So-
what the other guy was making it out to be. For me, I don't think Purdy's trade. I think he's doing a great job with what he got, and if on a rookie deal, he'll probably be surrounded by good players and great players.
Look,
So I don't think he's trash at all.
I want to ask Randall because I he's caping for him hard.
Bro, he already came out and said he's a 49er fan.
All right, listen. Our brother's a 49ers fan. Like, I mean, look,
B.
put your our older brother, put your money where your put your money where your mouth is. How much would you pay him? Right? How much would you pay him? Because he's a 7th round pick. I'm not sure how
The
long
last
his
pick.
contract. Yeah, the last pick.
Last.
So I'm not sure how long you got him under contract, but when it comes time to extend him, how much money are you willing to pay him? Put
3
your money
years.
where your mouth is, and don't come with this. Oh well, I think $30 million per year is fair. No, are you willing to pay this man $50 million per year? You're talking like he's that
Said
guy.
they got him for 4 years.
4.
Okay,
Yeah.
3 more.
but you can extend after 2.
He said nothing.
But you know what?
Nothing. That's what I thought.
One thing I will say, the 49ers are in a damn good position right now,
Right.
because neither
Two
both of the
rookie QBs.
quarterbacks on rookie quarterback or on rookie deals. So they don't actually have to make a move at all because they're not paying a lot for those guys. So we'll see. I mean, I think that with this run, right, that he's making, he has to be in the mix of a quarterback competition, I think, at the very
next year?
least. Yeah. And we don't know how Trey had a serious injury, so we don't know if and when he's going to be back in time or not.
Right.
But I'm not, like, I'm with you, Zay. Like, I personally see, the Tyler Heineke, with that craze when he jumped in and, he was looking solid. I kind of see that, he almost beat Tom Brady and the Bucks, who weren't playing hard at all in that playoff game. But, I kind of see that. But don't get me wrong, I give him a little bit above that. They're winning. He's not making any mistakes, even though Diggs dropped the interception that hit him right in the gut.
But that ball was tipped too, though.
Don't count
Hey.
the
But it was tipped by the guy he threw it directly at.
Right. He did throw it. Now he threw some balls in dirt too. Now he threw some dirt balls.
intentionally.
But that's the 49ers. That's the Cowboys. Let's move on to the Eagles. And who the Eagles play? Who the Eagles whoop?
The Giants.
Giants. That was a butt whooping. That's what I got to say about it. Anybody else? It was a waste of.
Daniel Jones is who we thought he was.
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting because a week ago it was, man, sign up Saquon and Daniel Jones for whatever it takes. It's going to be real interesting to see what they give those two guys now.
Chris, Mike,
yikes.
Hendo, anybody?
Man, that was garbage. Straight up garbage. I turned that game off so fast I couldn't tell you what happened in the second half.
Facts.
It was terrible. I was like, all right, it's UFC time. Let's turn this off because it was just bad. And it started off bad from the get-go when they went for it on 4th down.
Mm-hmm.
Once they did that, it was over. Once they got stopped, that's it. It was like this game is done. Like that's what it felt like. And the Eagles put their foot on their throat and they didn't let up not one bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you're supposed to do. You get them down and you keep them down. That's what good teams do. And lastly, the Chiefs versus who the Chiefs play?
Jacksonville.
I thought Jacksonville would give them all they could handle.
Mm-hmm.
Had Mahomes not gotten hurt, it probably would have been a blowout the way it was headed. So I think his limitations kind of let Jacksonville hang around longer than they were going to or supposed to. But we'll talk about that in a second. It was okay game. It was okay game for me. Anybody want to comment on that? Because I really want to get to the picks for next week.
It's okay.
I mean, go ahead, B.
No, I feel the same way about Jacksonville as I do about the Giants, which is, it didn't end the way you wanted it to end, but it was a great season for both of them. No reason to be upset for either one of those teams, particularly Jacksonville because they have their quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little different in New York, but I mean, they both had outstanding years, and now the big boys get to move on.
I think Jacksonville got a lot of momentum going into next year.
Listen, they get Calvin Ridley next year, so we'll see.
If he stays off the maps.
Do they what they pick situation look like? Anybody know? But not necessarily where they pick, but how many do they have?
Oh,
'Cause I know at one point they had a bunch. I don't know if they still got them.
That's a good question. I don't know.
All right.
But on the Chiefs side, I give Andy Reid a lot of credit because when Mahomes went down, he made. You mentioned it earlier, Coach, when you talked about making offense easy, and Chad Henne came in, and Chad Henne is like my father's age, so to make it easy for him and to be able to keep the team on track and have that long drive, because things could have went south real quick, and that whole momentum could have shifted. But Andy Reid made everything easy for him, and they were able to stay on track and just feed your best players. They fed Travis Kelce, you know, and that's what you got to do, and that's what makes Andy Reid such a successful coach for like the last 20 years.
Right. Shout out to Eric Bieniemy. I'm gonna give him some credit.
I was just going to say, you see, he didn't say Eric Bieniemy made it easy for him. He said Andy Reid.
Well, because Andy Reid, everywhere he goes, he does that. So I got to give him his credit too. You know, everywhere he goes, he does this. Philly, Kansas City, he does this everywhere he goes.
So the Jaguars have their first, second, third, 2 4ths, a 5th, and 2 6ths.
Okay. That ain't
Trade
bad.
for Patrick Queen. Give up that second. Yeah.
You gotta be out your goddamn mind to give up a second.
Our defensive player of the year? What do you mean?
Yeah. Out your goddamn mind.
Hey, I know it's completely different, but Kenny Young did help the Ravens get MP. Just putting that out there.
He did.
Just putting that out there.
He did.
Okay.
All
right, predictions.
Little package deal, you know,
for some Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
Trade PQ and get Jalen Ramsey.
Hey,
I don't think you want Jalen Ramsey these days.
Hey. To pair him with Marlo?
Yeah, I think that.
Hey, I think that.
Indeed.
I don't know what we're going to do at Mike, but I think that. Well, the other Mike, because we basically run 2 mics.
What are we going to do anyway, Coach? He's gone either way. He's
not this year. He might be going next year. He ain't going this year.
Man, if you bring Jalen on, you might as well. You could bring Ray back to play Mike. It don't matter.
Picks. So we'll start with the NFC game. The 49ers and the Eagles. Chris, who you got?
Eagles. I think the Eagles going to stomp them. Shout out to the 49ers fans. One of my best friends is a 49ers fan, but I feel like the Eagles are the most complete team on both sides of the ball. You know, they have, a really good defense, really high level offense who can run it on you, who can throw it, protect their quarterback. You know, Jalen Hurts, we know he's a mobile guy. I just feel like it's going to be too much for the Niners.
Mike?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think that Philly defense it'll be a little bit too much for Mr. Purdy. And I think it's just, look, Philly is built very, very well. They're constructed well. You know, they play solid defense, and just like the Cowboys. But the only thing on the other side is they can score points when they stop you and they hold them to 3 or whatever. They can come back and score points. So I think it is going to be a little too much. I agree with Chris.
Hendo?
I'm gonna go with Philadelphia. I think the Eagles, like he said, are just the most complete team in the NFL. Both lines, offensive and defensive, they have talent across the board. They led the league in rushing. I think people forget that. They led the league in rushing, and they have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Quez Watkins, Sanders.
Southern Miss to the top, baby.
Sanders. Like, they offensively, they can put up points, and they also can stop people. You know, I really like Darius Slay as a corner. Like, I think he's one of the slept-on corners in the league, and for San Francisco, it seems Brock Purdy sometimes in the playoffs, he starts off a little slow. It's like the moment gets to him a little bit like, I'm here. And this is the NFC Championship. So if they start off slow, I think Philly may just take the lead and never relinquish it. B?
Oh, yeah. No, I was just throwing off. I thought you were going to say that. No, I told Jose, I thought the Eagles looked to me like they looked at Baltimore and said, man, what if we built a team like that, but with good players? And that's how they're doing it, and they're rolling right now. So I'm taking Philly over San Francisco, but my heart is picking C-Mac and the 49ers.
So which one you picking?
He picking
I
San
thought
Francisco.
I'm picking Philly.
Okay.
I picked with
I'm
my
sorry.
brain. I'm
Okay.
saying my
Oh,
heart.
your heart.
I
He's
want
rooting for the
Christian to win.
Niners.
Got
No,
it.
you're rooting for Christian McCaffrey. You're not rooting for the
Yeah.
Niners.
No.
Jose?
I'm rooting
Yeah, I
for
got the Eagles. I had nothing more to add. Yeah, I got the Eagles.
I got the 49ers.
Okay.
Just
Lone Wolf.
just call it a good. Just call it a good. It ain't. There's no real reasoning behind it. I just think they're gonna win.
Did you
There's
pick
no-
the Bengals? Did you pick the Bengals to win against the Bills?
last week?
Mhm.
I did.
Okay.
I did. I mean, I didn't verbally say it to anybody because I ain't go on stream with them, but I thought they would win. Because but I did say this about that. I don't think I did say this on Twitter. Nobody's going to hold them to 200 yards passing the rest of the season. Now I said that somebody may outscore them, but nobody's going to hold them down. And I'm talking about the Bengals. Hold them down the rest of the postseason. And like I said, they might get outscored the Chiefs, or if they go on to play one of these other teams, maybe. But they're gonna get 200 plus yards and have multiple touchdowns. We was on a team that could have held them down, but
Coach.
it was a fifth.
Coach.
It was a fifth.
Don't
All right.
do that. Coach, don't
AFC
do that.
game.
Coach. Don't do
AFC
that.
game.
No,
AFC
don't do
game.
that. Because
AFC
they had,
game.
listen, I'm going to put
I
this
got
out
the
there.
Bengals.
They had a week to prepare for not having all of their offensive line there. They had to go mid-game. Don't do that, Coach. You know,
AFC.
I know you be
I got
trying
the
to do.
Bengals. I got the Bengals. I got the Bengals. B, who you got?
I'm taking Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. Like you said, to outscore Cincinnati.
But the sleeper in the room, the elephant in the room, that ankle. You factor that in too?
No, I mean he doesn't need to be mobile. He doesn't need to run around. He's the best quarterback in the league from the pocket. He threw the most touchdowns in the league from the pocket. And to Chris's point, they haven't been much of a run team, during this run. But now they've got Isaiah Pacheco who can move the ball on the ground. So I think they get it done this week.
Jose?
Yeah, I got Mahomes/Henny winning it. I think you'll see. I think you'll see a little bit of Chad Henne, so they don't roll Mahomes out there too much. I think they're confident in both. Look, obviously Mahomes is the guy, but I think they're comfortable enough with Chad Henne to come in the Spurs to run certain plays and move the ball. And I think they're confident they can win this game without using Mahomes the whole game and have him sit for 2 weeks and heal up that ankle for the Super Bowl. Look, the Bengals. Look, I can't look at this game against the Bills and say, "Oh man, they're scary." They both looked terrible the week before. The Bills looked awful against Miami. They should have lost that game. Obviously, being a Baltimore fan, we can look at it and say, "Hey, they should have lost to us." But neither one of those teams look good. So okay, they beat the Bills. The Bills didn't look great again. I mean, I don't take much from that. Them going on the road to Kansas City again. Look, they did it last year, so it's obviously not out of the realm of possibility. But I'm gonna go with the Chiefs to get it done this time.
One thing I just thought about, they've won 3 in a row too.
I was about to say that.
Go ahead. No, I'm sorry, my bad. I mean,
you
go ahead.
good,
Your turn
Coach.
anyway.
You good, Coach? Like you said, they won 3 in a row, and I was told by a certain quarterback that my Super Bowl window is while I'm here playing, and I believe him. And I believe him. He's 3-0 versus Patrick Mahomes, the only quarterback in the NFL that's undefeated against him. But the thing that gets me is in those 3 games against the Chiefs went out with big leads, and the second half collapses. Like in the second halves of those games, Patrick Mahomes struggled to throw the ball. They struggled to score. They struggled all the way around. And with Patrick Mahomes being limited with that ankle, I think it's going to make it even worse. I was going to predict the Bengals to win before he got injured. So even now more so, I think the Bengals going to their second straight Super Bowl. And they're going to put a lot of pressure on this organization to say, why couldn't we have done that with Lamar on his rookie contract?
Right. Mike?
I want Mahomes to win. But that ankle, I'm not trusting it. I don't know, unless he's Superman or unless they're gonna shoot him with some crack. I don't know how he's going to play on a high ankle sprain. I know I've seen high ankle sprains take out players for weeks, right? So the way he looked in finishing that game, I just can't see it. If he pulls this off, then he's in line. He's the GOAT. He's in line to be the GOAT if he pull it off. I don't think he can. I'm going with the Bengals. I think the Bengals are too tough without a Mahomes that is 100%. So I think the Bengals going to get it, man. They get after him. I think they'll we'll see a lot of pressure, which could be the gift and the curse for them. But I think we'll see a lot of pressure early to make Mahomes move, and I think it could spell trouble for the Chiefs.
To your point, Mike, Ted Hendrickson gave Ronnie Stanley fits.
Sure did.
What do you
Big
think he's
time.
going? What do you think he's going to do to Orlando Brown Jr.?
Sure.
The
Yeah, I
better
mean,
of the two.
Orlando Brown ain't coming off a career-threatening injury.
But he's been looking horrible.
Who?
He's like
Orlando Brown?
Yes.
yeah, he been yeah.
He ain't been playing. Hendrickson going to eat him alive. Pause.
What's Chris Jones going to do to their O line?
Right, and Frank Clark.
Oh, they're going.
But Joe can move a little bit.
They're going to destroy them.
They're gonna have constant pressure now. I agree. They're gonna have constant pressure.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, and I'm sorry, Chris. No, you go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, man. Go roll on.
I just want to say, like, all y'all talking about Pat's ankle. Like, the last time you saw Chad Henne fail was before he put on a Kansas City uniform. So it don't matter. Like
Might see some Henny magic.
This
There
is
you
true.
go.
Hey, I tell you what. No, I ain't gonna say that because I'm gonna set myself up to fail. I was gonna say if Henny win that game, I'll come on stream and drink some Henny. But I
Do it. Set yourself up.
Mm-mm.
Go ahead, coach.
Because Henny, nope, can't do it.
You can't. You can't drink penny water.
Nope.
Oh, man.
They got this notion back home. It says gin make you sin, and Henny's right there with gin.
Yeah.
Chris,
I'm. It pains me to say it, but I might have to go with the Bengals because I look at their roster and it's more complete roster. The Chiefs defense, as far as the secondary is concerned, it's not it. And I find it very difficult to believe that the Chiefs defense will be able to hold, all of the weapons that they have down. And, it's now I say that, but this is Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
So I will not be surprised if the Chiefs end up pulling this out because that dude, he's on his way to being the best. Like he's off to the best start of any quarterback ever. So I'm definitely not putting anything past Patrick Mahomes. But if I had to pick one, I would probably lean towards the Bengals just because they're just more complete on both sides of the ball.
Next, the key thing is the backups for Cincinnati up front, and then Mahomes' ankle. Them the key matchups, right? Even though they ain't going against each other, but them the key things to look out for.
And Eli Apple.
Yes, but the Bengals have a 3-headed monster over there, and Hayden Hurst ain't playing bad either right now.
True.
Yeah.
So
good point.
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be fun to watch. It's gonna be fun to watch. And I don't think either game is going to be a blowout. I think both games are going to be different. I think the Eagles and 49ers game will be like a defensive clash up until like a splash play in the second half somewhere starts to separate one or the other. And I think that AFC game could be 35, 40 points from each team. Could be. So we'll see. That's what? January 23rd. 2023 Ravens Roundtable. We covered the offensive coaches that they've interviewed so far, talking about interviewing. We gave our postseason awards. We talked about the divisional round of the playoffs. And now we're going to give our parting shots for the 237 people in here. Please hit that like button. There is a pinned tweet there first before we get to that part. That's OTR's Mike's video today about Ed Reed and what he has going on with Bethune-Cookman.
Fire.
Myself, D-Mac, and Mike. Can you just talk about that for a minute, Mike? That episode.
Yeah.
Don't give it away. Just talk about it for us.
So it's I had special superstars on the episode with me. You gotta check it out, man. It's some dope content, man. We went into Eddie in his situation that he's going on, that happened down in Bethune-Cookman, man. And to be honest with you, we jumped on it last week, right? So there's going to be, hopefully, fingers crossed, a part 2 to that. But listen, Coach Evans, my man D-Mac, aka Denarian McCants, former and only Washington Redskin player I ever cheered for, rooted for,
And former Raven.
and former Raven, and former Eagle for a spell. You know, he came on both HBCU alum, and they dropped some jewels on you guys. I'm not gonna give too much of that, but y'all need to go check it out. It is very, very dope. And I'm glad I asked those two to come on, and they came on at short notice at that. So check that out, man. I promise you will enjoy it. And I'm giving you what I promised that I'll do on my platform, and that's give another side of these gentlemen that you're not usually getting on this table right here. So I'm getting everybody. I'm getting everybody. Trust me.
What platform is that?
That's the Ravens Roundtable. Sitting here, we on Sip to Tally Films.
No, your platform.
Right.
Oh well, that's where we at now.
No, he's asking.
I was going
segue about the video.
Oh, my video. Oh, okay. Well, look,
where can they find it?
You can find it. Y'all know me by now, man.
Might be some new people up in there.
See, like Randall that just donated, he said, "Thanks for the insight and talking about the games. Have a good night. Whoever wins, hope they enjoy the watch." Randall don't know where to find your stuff at, so that's a perfect segue. Appreciate you, Randall.
Randall, we appreciate you, but hold on one second. Let me check. Let me tell you one thing. Look, I need you to do me a favor. Anybody who has not done this already, go over to Open Mic with yours truly. That's OTR Mic. That is the show where the mic is open for any discussion, no matter what it is, who it is, or where it is. I promise you I deliver that. And if I have not, I will eventually, right? I'm getting there as a solo podcaster, but a lot of y'all here already show me love. Brandon, Agent E, a lot of y'all in here, y'all Big Red, y'all show me love already. But anybody else in here who has not gone over there, go over there and give your boy a like and subscribe for me.
That's
Appreciate
Open Mic, MIKE.
Yeah.
Open Mic with OTR Mic.
Gotcha.
Brent too. Brent show love too. I appreciate you.
Hendo.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me once again. If you want, you can find me on YouTube at Ravens Online on Gatekeepers. I do a live stream every Thursday and Sunday. Don't know what I'm going to do for the off season, but we'll figure something else out. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at our Gatekeepers. You can find me on the audio side, wherever you find your audio podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Google. You know, I just be around.
Chris?
You can find me on Twitter at Chris Just Joking, and you could also find me on the Deep Cover Pod. We dropped an episode last week, so check that out. And we'll be dropping some, as the off season goes on and more news comes out. So be on the lookout for that.
Jose and B.
All right, we are the Lunch Break Hot Take. We do a live stream every Wednesday night at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, me, B, and Mr. OTR Mike have a boxing channel. So if you're into boxing, check out Ring Kings Podcast. And you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at LBHT Show. And all those same places, minus Facebook for Ring Kings at Ring Kings Pod.
All right. For myself, I just tagged everybody in the description. I tagged Ravens Online Gatekeepers, Online Ungatekeepers, Open Mic with OTR Mic, Deep Cover Podcast, LBHT Show, Ring Kings Podcast, and More Sip the Tally. More Sip the Tally is my second channel. Randall, I don't know if you know, but that content over there is for everybody. I'm for the streets over there. All 31 teams can get at me on More Sip the Tally. Over here, I'm exclusive.
Right.
But on that channel, I'm for the streets. So I pass my number out over there. I go to the bar. I don't pay for drinks over there. But I appreciate everybody for coming through. You can find me on Twitter at Coach Evans9, on TikTok and IG at Sip the Tally Films. If I'm not mistaken, don't all y'all have a TikTok too?
Yes.
Yes.
So we all on TikTok too, and trying to put that good content out, and we'll be back Monday, man. And the only guaranteed topic we'll talk about Monday is the upcoming Super Bowl, but we'll probably have other stuff to talk about with the OC search and other things. So I appreciate it. At one point, we were like 230, maybe 235, something like that. I appreciate you guys for coming through. Hit that like button. Hit the bell so you can be notified when we drop this content. And subscribe to everybody that's in the description, man. Just click the link, subscribe, go back to the next one, click the link, subscribe. We appreciate it, man. We appreciate it. We work hard for you guys, and thank you guys for showing up every week. So with that being said, you could be anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with us for an hour and 39 minutes. Appreciate y'all, man, and we out.